It is 12:59. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Tennessee Titans are not shopping wide receiver A.J. Brown, according to a report by ESPN's Diana Rossini, reiterating John Robinson's stance that the team is working to keep Brown long-term. This, of course, amid rumors of the Jets seeking a trade. Former Titans linebacker Rashaan Evans has signed with the Atlanta Falcons on a one-year deal, reunites him with his former defensive coordinator in Nashville, Dean Pease. The Falcons also added former Titans long snapper Bo Brinkley, who was not with the team for the 2021 season. Tiger Woods spoke with the media at Augusta National a couple of hours ago and stated that he is looking like he will play the Masters this weekend, saying, quote, "As of right now, I feel like I'm going to play." Tiger Woods, 14 months removed from a car wreck that resulted in serious leg injuries. Critical Central Division matchup for the Nashville Predators tonight, looking to remain in the playoff picture as they host the Minnesota Wild in Bridgestone Arena. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. And the Nashville Sounds open up their season at First Horizon Park, hosting the Durham Bulls. First pitch at 6:35. 3HL will be broadcasting live from First Horizon Park today from 3 to 6. College baseball, Tennessee takes on another Nashville-based team after sweeping Vanderbilt over the weekend. Hosting Lipscomb at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, the Vols looking for their 20th straight win. First pitch is at 5:30, and Vanderbilt will look to bounce back, hosting Austin Peay at Hawkins Field tonight. A 6 p.m. first pitch. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's going on? You got your raincoat on out there today? Are those the tears of Jets fans coming from up north? Because they're not going to get A.J. Brown. So this, if you followed that saga this weekend, and we asked a question yesterday. Our thing was, like, regardless of what anyone is saying, what would you trade him for if you were going to trade him? To me, it was just more of an exercise in what would you be willing to part with, because the Jets have so many picks. And if they really came calling, was there any number that if you were the GM that you'd say, okay, for pick this or pick that or whatever it might be, because they've got, I'd have to go back and look at that, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a third, 2 fourths, 2 fifths. So we had a little fun with the exercise yesterday, and it seemed interesting. More and more people by the end of the day, and we got a bunch of responses at Blaine and Mickey Twitter, were like, I've been thinking about this, and for this pick and that pick and maybe one more, maybe I would do it.
As long as it's the upper part of that, a higher first round, a higher second round. Because it's a lot of collateral for one player who's, when he's on the field, he's one of the best. But right now, he has to stay available. Elite players find a way to stay on the field at all costs. So, he's definitely a Pro Bowl caliber player. But, man, we need a lot of different positions. You want to upgrade, and you can even draft a receiver in the first round. Not to say he'll be better than him, but he's going to be your starter. And get a second rounder and a third rounder? I don't know. You start saying, let me see. Is this going to be an issue signing him? We don't want to sign him for $25 million. Man, he may ask for 30 next year because the market's going to keep going up, 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 and away you go. So how far do you want to go?
That was the other question was, is 22.5 the most you'd be willing to pay? Is it 25? Is it 27? Is it 30? Because all those numbers are going to be valid numbers for any wide receiver agent. Heck, the same agent represents almost all those guys. So what's Debo going to get when he gets his get? What's DK going to get when he gets his bag?
And to me, he should be somewhere in between those two.
Yep.
Because they are the same year, right?
Mm-hmm. Though Debo was a first-round pick, so I think he was a first-round pick, wasn't he, Debo?
I don't think so. I think he was second round, too.
Oh,
I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure. I just remember watching him in South Carolina, and they really he was a really good player there, and he has shown that once he's got in the league. He's just a really thick-built, guy that can run reverses as well as run routes and play running back even. Man, I mean, that –
No, he was also round two. You're right.
He's second rounder. So him and A.J. Brown – Metcalf was a second rounder too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, see, so and they're all proving that they should have been first-round picks.
You know who wasn't a second rounder in that draft? N'Keal Harry.
That poor guy.
First wide receiver taken.
Well, especially when you see what's happened after him. The thing about Debo, just his ability to say, hey, we're going to give you 7 carries a game. And the fact that he physically withstood that, I mean, he's just, like you said, thick. He's thick.
Yeah, I thought he was going to come out of that playoff game, and he got a little nicked up.
Yeah.
He came right back in there. I was like, ooh, this dude is a tough mama, you know what. Them are my kind of dudes. Find a way to stay on the field.
Would you think along the lines of doing stuff like that with AJ, or would there be some concerns like durability-wise, could he go do that?
I think they do it on occasion, but I think it's all about your scheme and system, what you like to run. I would probably do a little bit more of that, but I'm cool with the way they use him, really. At the end of the day, they move him around. He's outside, he's inside. Sometimes he, run reverse here or there. So I'm cool with it. I don't like how much they use Debo in the backfield.
So that's not anything you'd be lobbying for.
Yeah, I think that's kind of I'm going to put my best player out here and then I'm going to do some gadget. They do it more than that. That's about as far I want to go with my receiver. Back to even though he has that kind of ability. So, yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, they use. I mean, he was getting used like that every single game.
Oh gosh, yes.
No, I wouldn't do.
Remember, at one point we looked. He averaged like several carries per game.
Yeah, I can't do that. Now I know they had some injury issues and that kind of led to that.
Yeah,
but I can't. Maybe once or twice a game, maybe. And I would probably say every 3 or 4 games in the backfield. But as far as running them on speed sweeps and stuff like that on the perimeter and screen plays and stuff like, yeah. But I think they go a little too far because I'm worried about Debo Samuels. As much as we're talking about he's tough, he's built thick, durability, eventually it's going to catch you. It's the National Football League. And the more he's taking hits like, the king. Mm-hmm. He's also taking hits in the secondary, the linebackers. I mean, there's a lot there to it. Yeah, especially if I sign him to a long-term deal, I would probably use him less doing that as time goes on.
Traylin Burke's one of the scouting reports that I read on him because we got so many people that like that guy. I know you like that guy, and we've talked about him a whole lot, so I've been trying to read
I don't think he's going to be there at 26. You don't ever know how the draft's going to go, but, man, too many people were talking about that kid.
He was 70% of his snaps came from the slot, which you talked about seeing him there, and his –
and running reverses and speed sweeps.
But he didn't – I don't want to put words in your mouth. You said he didn't run a lot of different routes. Is that the best way to say it? Okay,
well, I mean, but a lot of colleges, based off their offense,
they don't ask you to do that.
Right, so you can't really see how good of a route runner he is, but you can see him run the slant, the double move, the go. He's getting behind, SEC receivers, DBs, so it's pretty clear that he can run. That's why I said, see, this is a prime example of 4 or 5 time, and when you turn on the tape and say, nah, he faster than that. His game speed is totally different.
There's him actually running a play outside and literally running away from a Missouri cornerback. Then there's another play where like a slant, and he catches. There's like 3 Bama guys.
Bama, yeah, that's the one I saw. Ooh, I was like,
he took it to the house.
He took it. He took off. It was like he had turbocharged booster. When you play the video game, like he had smoke coming. I was like, dang, that was 3 Alabama dudes right there. Now we all know at some point all those guys are going to be in the league, or even if they don't get drafted, they're going to get a shot.
They're going to be in the league. Mm-hmm. So that's NFL talent that he was outrunning, and there were other instances too.
I think that was a slant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He took it to the house.
Ooh, I was like, oh, man, I don't see that in this 40 he ran.
One of these scouting reports said, I read somebody compared the way you could use him. Remember the guy LaVisca Chenault that went to the Jags, who came out of Colorado, and he played quarterback, and he played Wildcat, and he'd do all this stuff, which he hasn't really done much with the Jags. But it said you could almost take Traylin Burks and think of him like that as a gadget player. You draft a guy like that, would you be like, oh, I'll give that guy a couple carries a game?
Well,
a sweep, something like that.
But when you're saying that, I'm not like putting it in every single game.
Right.
I mean, but yeah, I think I'm not even going to call him a gadget guy, but it's just something that is a skill set that he's good at. Mm-hmm. So I can't even call it a gadget. It's kind of a, hey, let's throw some curveballs every 3 games. Let's try to give him the ball outside of just playing wide receiver. That's kind of how I look at it. Putting him in the I formation at tailback is totally different to me than taking a speed sweep, lining up in the slot. Where he can use his ability, his running ability to cut back, to take it around, to read his blocks and everything else. So, Yeah, I think that's fine. But if you're talking about putting them in the I formation like they're doing with Debo Samuels, that's a whole nother ball. Guess what? People don't understand. When you're at that 3 spot, I call it the 3 spot, the running back spot and the I formation behind the quarterback, all eyeballs except for the corners are looking at you.
Yeah.
That means 9 people. If we want to count the slot, he's maybe even looking at him too. 9 people is looking at him.
Right.
Him and the quarterback. Like, that's what's going on. I just don't want to put him in that kind of situation every game in and game out.
To have that kind of vision, though, to be able to do that. Yeah. And like Cordero
I'm
Patterson.
sure he was probably, most guys were some form of a running back in high school.
Right.
Or they were a running quarterback. So those traits still carry over even if you move to receiver, even if you're a defensive back, because now you just have to learn how to maneuver through that. And at some point in time, people were playing for him to run the sweep, and then, he had to learn how to cut back and make people miss. So those skills don't leave you. You just don't get to see them that often. So that's a pretty cool skill set. And some people will say, well, he's got another, notch under his belt, that I like him more than another receiver.
And that was we had Joel Corey on, the longtime agent, and he was talking about what A.J. Brown might get from the Titans, but he named Debo as like, Debo will get this much more. Like, he'll be the next guy, he felt like, to set the market because of his versatility, because of what he could do. But you got that? Here's Joel Corey, who was talking about that very thing.
Well, first, he's already in very good hands with Torrey Dandy. And Torrey Dandy is going to control the wide receiver market because Torrey Dandy represents Mike Williams, who signed for $20 million per year, Chris Godwin, who signed for $20 million per year. He represents DK Metcalf, who was drafted in the same round as A.J. Brown, and Debo Samuel, who was drafted in the same round as D.J. Brown. So you're not getting A.J. Brown for less than $20 million per year. I would be trying to target $25 million per year and probably settle at $22.5 million per year. I'd want to do a 3-year extension because I'm young, and I'm going to want to get another bite of the apple as a wide receiver. I don't see any circumstance where you're signing A.J. Brown for less than $20 million per year, given that same agent has gotten 2 deals done for wide receivers this year, $20 million per year.
Joe Corey weighing in on A.J. and the rest of the wide receiver market. DK Metcalf, the other guy who's in the mix. One thing about DK Metcalf, he played 16 games. He played 16 games. He played 17 games. That dude's been all kinds of, available.
Yeah, he's a tall, big guy.
He is available. 900 yards, 1,300 yards, and a 967-yard season for DK Metcalf. So obviously another wide receiver who's been talked about a lot, and certainly the Jets fans, I guess, can focus on him now because the news coming out earlier today, Diana Rossini, who appears to be pretty plugged in with the Titans, tweeted, Titans are not shopping or taking calls on A.J. Brown. John Robinson made it clear at the owners' meeting they are currently working towards keeping Brown a Titan for the long term. I am told this has not changed. Earlier today, no shopping, no calls.
We're not taking calls.
Right. I mean, we will listen to voicemail, though, if you leave us a message.
Watch this, I'm going to counter that. Nobody told us that they were looking at quarterbacks either. Malik Willis just visited and nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
So why was that a secret? Shh, don't tell nobody. So, what are you supposed to believe? Yeah, they don't want to be taking calls, but they are taking calls. Right. If somebody calls and asks about A.J. Brown, what will it take? They may tell them the moon, but I mean, it's going to take 5 first-round picks, but they're going to take the call because you don't know.
You're
how
not
this
doing your job if you don't take the call.
They have to. So, whenever somebody's so adamant, I think they believe that's what it's going to be, but things can change very quickly, as we know, if they find out that, A.J. Brown goes, hey, man, I'm signing for $25 million and nothing less. And then once they hear that, they go, oh, that's kind of what the Kansas City Chiefs did with old Tyreek Hill.
Cheetah.
You got out our price range, bro, so we got to let you go. And we all know how good he is, and I've talked about it. He'd be a nightmare for me. I'm like, oh, man, how are we going to control this guy here?
Yeah.
We're going to have to double, triple team him. Then that means Kelsey's going to get all of it. So, I mean, and you still not be able to stop him. This guy's like catching a rabbit. You can't. And tricks aren't for kids.
And as you pointed out,
Man,
it's not just down the field fast, side to side, front to back, back
lateral,
to front.
Oh my God,
all that stuff.
It's on a warp speed, man. It's uncanny that I've never seen a guy like him, really, in the league. It's something. It's something
That's
special.
saying something too for that league.
Yeah,
For you to be unique in that league.
Yeah, I mean, we can kind of. There was a guy, but he wasn't as vertical, speed like him. And it's going to blow your mind. This dude's lateral quickness, he just got injured, is Razim Akeem. I think that's his name.
Oh, was it Oz-Zakir?
Akeem. Akeem that was with the Rams. They were the St. Louis Rams at the time. And his lateral quickness was, when you watch him on tape, you go, he was kind of on that Waddle, Tyreek Hill, but his just vertical speed, it didn't blow you away. So you say, okay, well, I can kind of sit on these routes, and if he gets a step on me, vertically, I can maybe manage through that.
I'd forgotten.
Yeah, man, and nobody talks about him when they had the greatest show on turf, but he was something special now in that slot on that turf. Woo!
I'd forgotten all about that dude.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say, Lucas? We gotta make some magic happen here. Is that right? All right. I'm opening this up. So here you go. Get your dialing fingers ready. Lucas has got tickets for you. Preds, Nashville Predators regular season. There's not much left, ladies and gents. 104.5 The Zone. We got your chance to win tickets to cheer on the Preds as they make their postseason push, and they are pushing. The Window Nation ticket window is now open, so be caller number 5 for your chance to win tickets to see your Nashville Preds take on the San Jose Sharks. That's coming up April 12th. 615-737-1045 will get them for caller 5. Tickets to the remaining Nashville Predators home games are available now. For more info, go to NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Get your tickets now. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Let's talk a little basketball with our, well, this guy's an expert. He experted his way all the way. The NBA, Brandan Wright, who joins us now. What's up, B. Wright? How in the world are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I mean, I'm doing all right. I can't say I'm doing well, but I'm doing all right.
Oh, man, it affects you that much, man. Kind of take us inside, B. Wright, man. Like, how's it feel being an alum as well as how your fans feel of North Carolina after, a heart-wrenching loss in the championship?
Man, it took me a while to go to sleep last night. It was hurting my chest. Like, I was
Wow.
like kind of ill because I kind of had flashbacks from when I was there and we played Georgetown in Elite Eight, and we had an 18-point lead in the second half when we lost.
Oh.
In overtime. So I kind of had that gut feeling like I remember this. This feels very, very familiar. So to see that go down last night, that was tough. And those guys, man, it was a heck of a team effort because they don't have, it's not the most talented Carolina team in history, but they put it together these last month or so. So to see them go down like that, we just ran out of gas, man. We didn't have enough in the tank.
Yeah, that was Brandan Wright, our guest, former North Carolina Tar Heel, longtime NBA player at B Wright 34. It's funny because we were talking about them and they had survived this emotional game against Duke, and it's such a short rotation of guys, and then it's like, okay, in the career of the coach of your biggest rival, now get all up and do it again to try to beat this unbelievably deep Kansas team. That was going to be a tall order, but they gave it everything they had, but the tank did seem empty at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, and you look, I don't know, people follow Carolina basketball, but if you really, are deep into the program, the history of the program is, we always play 10, 11, 12 guys a night.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just that wasn't the case this year. We just, we didn't have those type of guys. We couldn't go deep in our bench. We were young, transfers, this and that. So we kind of stuck to basically, I call it 5.5 guys. Those other guys got in, but they were just, kind of just, spilling just to get a little break to the starters. So that hurt us. I mean, we could see it in the second half. We stopped making threes. We were turning the ball over, and then we turned the ball over. We couldn't convert and get back in transition. So it was a tough night all along, especially in the second half. It was just brutal.
Was there any consolation though in the last game that you did win was the last one of K's career, and you even ended his regular season career and spoiled his Coach K day? I mean, do you take any solace in that?
Just a little bit, man. A couple of drops in the cup. Not the full cup, because we could have said, all right, we went to Cameron and we took K's last game in front of his own people. We could have said we ended his career in the Final Four where we never played each other before. And then we could have said we brought home a national championship that same year with a team that wasn't supposed to be there. That would have been the icing on the cake. But, it is what it is. We fought as hard as we could, but those Duke fans, they will always remember that what we did to K these last two games.
They sure will. Everybody will. Brandan Wright, our guest, talking some college hoops here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Brandon, I was going to ask you this a little bit later, but so then how is it viewed this season by former players like yourself, the fan base, about in totality what, Wilbur Davis and those guys did this season?
I mean, to be honest, it was pretty up and down. It was a roller coaster type of season. I know, early in the season, we definitely weren't happy with the product we were seeing on the court. We weren't playing well. We were getting blown out by Wake Forest and Miami and schools like that we traditionally don't have any issue with. And then Duke came into Carolina and beat us pretty bad also. So that was kind of the turning point of the season. And, for them to make this run like they did at the end of the year, it gives hope to the program that, Hubert has solidified itself as a pretty solid coach. Now, all we got to do is, we got to start picking our recruiting back up. Those guys down the street, they got 6 All-Americans coming in next year. So, we got to pick up the pace and, try to compete with that. But, I think Hubert is the right man for the job. He definitely has a passion and a heart for the program. And, he's led the program his whole life. So, hopefully we can keep this momentum rolling.
What did you think there, B. Wright, man, when the kid stepped out of bounds? Did you get some new life? Think, it's meant to be. We're going to win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we had a shot, man. We, I don't know what happened to Brady Manning on that one play. I don't know if target or not. I know he tripped and fell in the corner. I don't know if we were trying to skip the ball over to him so he could shoot the three, and maybe that messed up the whole rhythm of the play. But we didn't get a good shot at them. I mean, our last 5 or 6 threes, they were all ugly. I don't even think they really had a chance to go in. So the whole play was kind of funky. I don't think we had another timeout. And those guys, man, they didn't have any legs at the end. We were missing all kind of shots. We just couldn't get it to fall, man. Then had a couple guys banged up. Those guys left everything they had on that court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of that, Baycock and I think it was Love, number 2. I think he sprained his ankle earlier. It's kind of in that same area. When you kind of follow, North Carolina on their Twitter, they kind of talk about their fans, and they're kind of talking about how, there was something going on with the court in that area. I don't know. How did you see that?
It could have been something going on there, and Blaine, I don't think you played in New Orleans in a long time. You played on turf or grass, so it wouldn't affect. But anytime you play in New Orleans, it's so moist down there.
Yes, I definitely agree.
You got those spots, So, when you play NBA games down there, and when you play, especially in a huge arena like that with, I think it was 69 and some change. I mean, you're gonna get a little more spots like that. So that was interesting to hear, and I'm pretty sure it probably was a little wet right there.
I had to get your view because, man, Baylor and now Kansas have won the championship back-to-back, right? So that's the Big 12. Is the Big 12 kind of now leading the forefront of the best conference, or how do you view, I guess, let's say the last 4 or 5 years on what conference is the best?
And to be honest, the shutdown year, Kansas was the best team by far, in my opinion. And, they end up we didn't get anything because of COVID or whatever, but so, say they win that year or whatever. I mean, they were the best team. So that's 3 years in a row of, particularly Big 12 dominance. I think Big 12 is probably the best basketball conference right now. And then you got the SEC and the ACC kind of right there, trying to jockey for position. I know Louisville made a new hire. We know the SEC schools are up and coming. They invested a lot of money into their coaches. So I think college basketball is in good hands right now. It's just, where those kids go to school or where they go, opt to do other things to get more money.
Well, with Brandan Wright, former North Carolina Tar Heel player and great.
That's right. You mentioned opportunities for players as part of your last answer. Curious to get your take on NLI or NIL, name, image, and likeness. And then I also wanted to ask you just kind of what you think about the transfer portal. But first with name, image, and likeness, because certainly there are opportunities now where a guy might say, well, I'm not going to go to the G League. I can go to, North Carolina and make $1 million or however it might work out.
Yeah, I'm all for the players getting money and, maximizing their name and their brand. But I call it the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
So, you can – and there's still a lot of things they need to clean up, because I'm a North Carolina alum, Say there's a kid in Nashville that's a 10th grader, I pay him $100,000, under the table, public, whatever, just to wear my T-shirt, my foundation team, Brandan Wright, and he decides to go to North Carolina. That's how easy it is to kind of sway these kids to make these choices, because you just put a little money in their pocket, and then, even now, the top guys, they're getting into millions now. These quarterbacks and these big-time five-star basketball players.
Yep. I
mean, they're getting these crazy amounts of money, and I mean, it's nuts right now. I don't know where it's going. They need to find a way to kind of not control it, but just keep it clean. Just keep it where guys, aren't getting taken advantage of. Is what I'm looking for.
What do you think about the transfer portal? That's kind of been wild, wild west as well. I mean, curious to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. It's crazy because it's kind of hard to keep a team together now because they lifted the rule where you have to sit out for a year. So, I mean, that's just it's tough, man. The way I see it as a college coach, you kind of have to. I feel like you need to get like 5 or 6 guys that are going to stay with your program. And then you just piece around it. That's the only way you can do it because everyone's transferring. I seen the point guard for St. Peter's today, he's in the portal.
Yeah, they got
like,
3 guys
we need to go
in
ahead
there.
and bring him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, just go ahead and bring that guy to Chapel Hill. You can't have enough type of guys like him.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Let's just bring him over. So, I mean, it hurts the big schools because if a top player doesn't play, he's gone. It hurts the little schools. So look at St. Peter's. They had a heck of a run, and now they got 3 guys in the portal, and surely they'll have more. And their program will be back to, what it was before. So it's just a big bowl of cereal, and you just stirring it up, see what happens.
And right now, like you said, it's nobody really regulating it. I mean, name, image, and likeness. I mean, some states have passed laws, but the NCAA just kind of stood with their hands in their pocket. And if they had made moderate, changes along the way over the years and let a kid sign his autograph for some money or endorse a local tractor dealership or whatever, probably wouldn't be staring at all this right now.
Yeah, it's so lightly regulated right now that, so much going on. And, how can you put these programs on a pedestal and say you're in trouble for these recruiting violations when, what we have going on? It's been going on for a long time, but now it's technically legal.
Yeah.
So, they need to just find a way to clean the slate and then find a way to make sure they regulate this where it's fair and it's protecting the guys. Because at the end of the day, it's going to end up hurting the players if they don't find a way to make sure everything is run perfectly.
Brandan Wright, our guest, NC Chapel Hill basketball player, longtime NBA guy as well, talking some hoops with us on Blaine and Mickey.
Speaking of clean the slate, I guess, how do you view, the 5 level 1 violations by Kansas? Because I don't even, a lot of people are saying they're not even going to be able to defend their championship. Do you think they should just swipe that clean and just keep it moving and move forward?
I don't have an opinion on it, but this is what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't think anything is going to happen. Bill Self has a great reputation in the media and, with players. It's hard to find anyone to say anything negative about him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll find a way to sweep it under the rug. I mean, if they couldn't get LSU with wiretaps, then what can they do to him? So, I'll just say they just find a way, hit him with a scholarship or 2, whatever. I don't think it's going to mean anything because technically you can get a guy to walk on and then you can pay him $1 million on the side and it doesn't count against your scholarship. So it's loopholes to all this stuff. So that's why, it's so crazy out here these days.
No doubt about it. One with Brandan Wright. I guess last for me, and now Bill Self is kind of in this, purgatory where he's won 2 championships, and that kind of puts you in a whole another stratosphere, 2008 and now 2022. Do you consider him one of the elite top, 5 coaches of his era?
I mean, to be honest, and I talked about this to people, former players and these colleagues that follow college basketball. I mean, now that K is gone, now that Coach Williams is gone, I mean, I think he's the guy.
Oh.
When you say college basketball, who do you look to? I'm looking at Bill Self. I mean, you can say Calipari, but they don't look like they're on the right track, even though they had a good season this year. You can say Jay Wright. They've been doing some good things. Yeah. Maybe Baylor can push up, but you got to look at Bill Self and say that he's been doing this for a long time. He's been winning at a high level for a long time. Now that he has 2 championships, if he can crank out another 2 in the next, before he retires, he'll be right up there with all those other guys.
Mm. And I had it. One more about the game, though. I thought they were firing those threes at the end, but to me, they should have went for 2, and they were going to have another possession. What were you thinking during that time? Take yourself back as a player, and then today, how you would have been thinking as a former North Carolina player, and then now with the coaching hat on, looking at it from that view.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I would like to see Caleb Love use his body and attack the paint and try to get a layup, but I just don't think those guys had the legs to get to the rim.
Got you.
So it's easy to pull up for a 3. If it feels good, you think it's going in. Sometimes it misses, sometimes you hit. But I just don't think he had the energy. I mean, and he, like you said, he had rolled his ankle too, so he was a little gimpy himself. And he was really the only guy capable of getting to the rim and finishing at the rim. R.J. Davis he was a good penetrator, but he's a little bit smaller. Love is our guy. We want to attack the rim and try to make a play. He's the guy. And then if he misses, I mean, what we've seen Baycock do over the last 3 weeks, I mean, he just cleaned up the glass.
Yeah. I was really impressed with Manic playing after getting. I thought he was concussed.
Yeah.
His body went limp, and then I can't believe he even stayed in the game. But I mean, lucky for him, he was okay, and then ended up doing really well.
That was
man.
crazy.
That was
crazy
weird for me.
When he got hit the first time, his feet came out from under him.
Yeah,
You know?
it made me nervous. I
So-
said, "Look at his foot."
Yeah.
I mean, you play, NFL, Blaine. I'm in the NBA. If they see that on the camera, you're out the game no matter what. You're
Yeah.
done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no more. You can't go back in the game. There's no protocol. You have to be at the game if they see that trigger right there. So for him to, I mean, it was kind of embarrassing, to be honest, on the, college sports, because I mean, I was kind of like you. I was like, is he okay?
Yeah.
Because he was looked a little woozy, but we can talk about the NCAA all day or our entire show.
About that. We're on with UNC great Brandan Wright.
Hey, B. Wright, on the way out, we were talking, and you kind of were laying out some of the leagues and how they've improved. Or you brought up the SEC. To me, the question for Cal, it's not that he's a great coach, but we were naming guys who had 2 titles. He doesn't have that second title. Should he have won more at Kentucky? Should there be another title at least for him?
I mean, it should probably be 2 or 3 more, to be honest. I mean, they've had some top talent come through that place, and I mean, we can just start it this year and start going backwards. I mean, I know they were terrible last year. I know they wasn't a good season. They had a couple down years, but we can start it this year and just start going back. That team should have won. That team should have won. That team had 4 top 20 picks. Why didn't they win? They had a lottery pick come off the bench. Why didn't that team win? So it's tough, man, because I know he's getting a lot of different type of players, and he tried a different route this year.
Sure did.
It just didn't work, So he has to get back to the drawing board, and how long will he continue to coach? Because I mean, I know K was kind of, Coach Williams and Coach K, they didn't want to deal with what's going on. Now I can get that feel. They never publicly said it, but it's a different game now. So you got to do a little bit more. You can't just get these 5 stars on campus and expect for them to stay because they can just get up out of there right quick. So. Hopefully they find a way, but the SEC is catching up to Kentucky, so it's going to be a tough league for a long time.
All right, on the way out, you're a former Memphis Grizzly. That was one of your NBA stops. Do they have the foundation to win a title in Memphis?
They do, but I'm taking Phoenix this year. I think it's their year. I think it's Phoenix's year to get it done.
Down the road, though, maybe with Ja and the crew?
Yeah, I mean, they got to keep those guys together.
Yeah.
I mean, the team is going to be very, very expensive in like 2 or 3 years. And you know how it is with small market. Sometimes you just got to let people go. But I read a report recently that the owner now, Perez, maybe the richest owner in the NBA.
Whoa.
So if he's willing to spend some money and keep those guys together in a small market, the sky's the limit for them. I mean, they already dominating. They're already right there.
Yeah.
I give them an outside chance to win a championship this year. I like Phoenix, but they could easily get to the Western Conference Finals and compete.
Another one of your former teams, the Phoenix Suns. I saw you play there in Phoenix for the Suns.
Yeah, I did too.
That was a lot of fun.
Appreciate those
that night,
tickets,
for
man.
sure. Yes,
Thank you.
sir. We remember the good times. Brandon,
That was a fun place. That was a fun place.
Yeah, it was
I
a
like
fun
Phoenix,
night
too.
for sure. Hey, man, thank you for everything. Good catching up with you. We'll do it again soon.
Appreciate you, Bear.
All right, sounds good, fellas. See you soon.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care.
Brandon Wright. Boy, you talking about nice dude, and he was is a great basketball player. At BWright34, you can follow him there. Always love catching up with that dude. When we come back, if you are looking for something to do this weekend, there is some good news for you. Yeah, I'll tell you what it is next.
I'm going.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. I may have misspoke. I said something to do this weekend. This guy has to make it into the weekend. But Tiger Woods speaking today to the media, he's going to give it a go at Augusta. I think that is huge news. I know if you're a big golf guy, you just want to watch, Louis Oosthuizen, and I get it. But casual fan wants to see Tiger Woods. And so does golf guy, if he's honest with himself. I mean, he's going to – we're talking about, what did you say last week, Lucas, or earlier this week? It's Will Smith slapping Chris Rock ratings versus not Will Smith slapping Chris Rock ratings.
That's my comparison. Tiger Woods is Will Smith's hand.
Well, that's what I love about the golfers, though. They've all embraced that from the beginning. They knew he was going to help make golf bigger.
Yep.
So, he's been that way the entire time, whatever he was going through personally or physically with his health. So, yeah, I think he always brings a lot of eyeballs. I'll be interested to see, you love the comeback story, but can he stay healthy enough to finish the tournament if he makes the cut? Because fatigue, walking that course is going to be tough, and they're not going to let him use a card and everything else. So I just, man, as they say, he looks good, but, man, I just don't know if he can finish. You got to get one under your belt first, and finish it. Then let's talk about winning. But we all know if you get hot and you get to rolling, you never know with Tiger because he is a special talent. But this one here, I was cheering for him the last time, but this one here, I think it's going to be tough just to make the cut.
This is his, per all accounts.
He stays healthy.
He did play that exhibition with his son, but this is his opening round marks the first time he's competed against the world's best player since November 15th, 2020, which was the final round of that year's Masters, which was pandemic delayed.
It was different, different time.
Yep. This is Tiger from earlier today, though. I think Lucas rounded up some LT Gray here.
Well, as of right now, I feel like I am going to play. As of right now, I'm going to play 9 more holes tomorrow. My recovery has been good. I've been very excited about how I've recovered each and every day, and that's been the challenge. That's why I came up here and tested out for 27 holes because we played the par 3 course. Charlie couldn't help himself, so. Was able to play 27 holes that day and at home testing it. But it's the recovery, how am I going to get all the swelling out and recover for the next day? And my team has been fantastic and worked very hard. So we've got another day of 9 more holes and then come game time.
And
I didn't hear that before. Yeah.
This is a story from him. His crash injuries were so severe they considered amputating his right leg.
Right, yeah.
Before they put it back together. And I was talking about this before the show today. Somebody asked him about the shoes he's wearing now, and he goes, "My leg's full of metal. I just have to wear shoes that can get me through the day." And he talked about this. It's like, how well can I recover? I think people lose sight of that sometimes for professional athletes. They say, you get to play in the game. Well, yeah, but what did it take to get you to play in the game? And then what in the heck is it like to actually get your body back after you do it?
Yeah, he's always transparent about recovery in any incident that he's ever had when it comes to his back, his knee, and him just kind of going, man, it's going to take a lot. That's why the first thing came to mind is, like, if he can finish.
Yeah.
Like, if he's in the hunt, can he finish? Because all I feel like we're going to hear is eventually we're going to get to his quote again about his glutes aren't firing.
Yeah. But that's about as transparent as anybody's ever been.
Because
hey,
everything else is trickling up, and it's going to start making him use other things when he's walking the course as far as compensation. And that's what you do as an athlete, and that's when you suffer other injuries. I think Coach Dyson and now Principal Dyson could kind of tell you all those things that happen with injury, and it was nowhere near as severe as Tiger Woods. Naturally, he's walking on a golf course, but when he's talking about how much I have to recover and what all his team has to do to help him recover, which he has those kind of resources, it's going to be interesting to watch because he's such a competitive guy, and if he's in the hunt, he's going to just get itching, and he's going to want to be out there sooner and just do more. So I'm interested to see if he can just keep recovering. But it's great for golf, though.
Well, he'll have his foot all the way down on the gas pedal. Like you said, he starts playing well, starts hitting some shots. He's going to keep pushing. And then, like you said,
everybody can go.
Okay, because people are like, it's just playing golf. It's not just you playing golf with your buddies. It's not that. This is the highest level against the very
Well,
best.
it's a pretty hilly course too.
Yeah.
So he's going to be doing some serious walking. You know, people must not forget now those other injuries still exist. Now they're
His
fixed,
back,
but
it's all
they're
put
not,
together.
Yeah, with 3 surgeries there, you know, an ACL tear. I mean, you know, this all combines, and you're not functioning, and something's going to give way, and you had to make sure everything is strong enough to withstand this. That's why I think there's a lot of unknown here, even by him.
Yeah.
And so when he starts feeling good and he say, okay, I can keep going, then he's going to start pressing, as we were just talking about, and trying to do more. And that's where the rubber meets the road as an athlete, you know, out there, whether you're playing golf or football, basketball, it doesn't matter, tennis. You know, that's when you can kind of push too far, too fast.
Well, I hope he can mentally and physically find a way to do this thing. It'd sure be cool to see.
We all know it's a mental game, right?
Yeah.
In golf. But the physical part of the rehab is also part of that mental part that he has to, you know, departmentalize and play in this game. And I think that's going to be really that's a tough deal, man.
Yeah.
That's really tough. So I'm excited to see if he can do all of that because, you know, just to be another, you know, thing we're talking about Tiger Woods and his legacy, about some things that he's done that you go, wow. I mean, it's just fantastic. It's incredible, really.
Yeah. Just him coming back to me. Just him. The fact that we're having this conversation is pretty incredible.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And the fact that his last win was
pretty awesome.
Was at the Masters. That's also pretty incredible, this dude. This is going to be incredible. You can join 3HL at First Horizon Park. They are broadcasting live for the Sounds home opener. Yep, the season opener block party is today before the game. Plus, listen for your chance to win Nashville Sounds tickets and more tickets for the 2022 Nashville Sounds season, which are awesome and on sale right now at NashvilleSounds.com. For more information, you can visit 1045thezone.com/events today.
It is 2:02. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Tennessee Titans are not shopping wide receiver A.J. Brown. That is according to a report by ESPN's Diana Rossini, reiterating John Robinson's stance that the team is working to keep Brown long term. This comes amid rumors of the Jets seeking a trade for Brown and several other receivers going into a contract year. Tiger Woods expected to play in the Masters this weekend. He spoke to the media at Augusta National earlier today and said, quote, "As of right now, I feel like I am going to play." Woods is currently scheduled to tee off Thursday at 9:34 a.m. Critical Central Division matchup for the Preds tonight, looking to remain in the playoff picture as they host the Minnesota Wild in Bridgestone Arena. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. And the Nashville Sounds open up their season tonight at First Horizon Park, hosting the Durham Bulls. First pitch is at 6:35. More college baseball happening in the Mid-State. Vanderbilt looks to bounce back from a series sweep, losing to Tennessee over the weekend, hosting Austin Peay at Hawkins Field tonight. First pitch is at 6 p.m. And Tennessee will take on another Nashville-based team tonight, hosting Lipscomb at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. The Vols in search of their 20th straight win. First pitch is at 5:30. In the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies have won 7 in a row despite missing some starters, including star Ja Morant. They'll look to continue that run tonight at the Utah Jazz. Tip-off at 8 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Happy rainy Tuesday to you. Opening day for the Sounds. RHL is going to be hanging out there today. Lucas Panzica with tickets. So if you're there, I'm going to will this rain away. What time do you want the rain to stop? Let me see what I can do.
As soon as you can, if you could.
Well, I
don't
can't
think
hit me
so.
with short notice like that. I'm going to need some time to work.
Can we do
I
an
know
hour?
you're a weatherman now. I know you watch the weather just because, your Arkansas days.
Well,
with
I'm
all those
super nervous
tornadoes.
about tomorrow already.
Oh, yeah.
Severe
Tomorrow and today.
thunderstorms?
Yeah,
Well,
it's supposed to rain all day.
It's like a chance of some other stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, tornado.
Go to your local weather. You can't say the T word around me, man. You know I get nervous.
Well, I don't know who's worse, you or my wife. I always watch it. She grew up in Houston. I said, all y'all did was flood. Y'all couldn't go anywhere. He said, oh, no, it was tornadoes hitting there.
Yeah. There's a chance that it will develop once it gets out past us.
Tomorrow? You're saying tomorrow?
Yeah. So we'll see. But
As long as I can go to this ball game tonight.
Look at Lucas.
That's
First
all
things first.
Who you going with, Lucas?
We got they had a great group deal, 10 tickets for like $180 for opening day. So we got this big group going. We're in 101 if anyone wants to come say what's up.
Oh, yeah, come and talk to the Lucas. Get all the insights on the Blaine and Mickey and the Buck Rogers show.
Lucas has got
Behind the
insights.
scenes.
Yesterday Lucas was real quiet. This was earlier today from Diana Rossini. It's kind of put this to bed, at least temporarily.
It's never to bad.
Just temporarily. You notice I said
Now
that.
you got to make up that bad first.
Diana Rossini tweeted the Titans are not shopping or taking calls on A.J. Brown. This is the quote. GM John Robinson made it clear at the owners' meeting they are currently working towards keeping Brown a Titan for the long term. She said, I am told this has not changed. This is actually what John Robinson said about A.J. Brown at the owners' meetings. I wrote this quote down. I've been carrying it around. Right now, we're just trying to get through this free agency period, seeing where we've landed cap-wise. A.J. is an important part of what we do. He's a great teammate. He works hard. He's about what we're about. A.J. is a Titan. We want to keep A.J. a Titan, and that's part of our goal this offseason, or whenever that manifests itself, to come to an agreement to keep him around. Now, one thing about a big deal, you can make the number real small in year one.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to get some money June 1 when Julio goes off the books, and it's just a cap thing, the way his contract was structured. Everybody knows he's gone, but it becomes part of the
Official.
NFL's business books,
Mm-hmm.
becomes official on June 1. So you'd have some money then.
So what do you think they're going to get signing for? I mean, what do you think he should sign for?
Well, let's just
GM Mickey. Because you think I'm a hard guy. You softy?
we've talked a lot about Big Jeff, though, and the dollar amount's only going to keep going up for each one of these guys.
Uh-huh.
So do you have to pay? Well, we think $25 a year for Big Jeff. Is that where we're just going to start the discussion? 25.
I don't know what's the numbers for their
There's-
like we've been talking about the numbers for all the receivers. That's why I
Yep.
said I'm at the like 20 million if we're gonna do it early.
If Aaron Donald gets a new contract, then
he's going to get more than 25.
yeah, that's going to totally reset the market. So I don't know if they would want to
Should you be racing against that?
Right, I don't know.
Clock against that? Because what if he gets 28 or 29 or 30? He's Aaron Donald. Aaron bleeping Donald. So,
and that's what they're going to say. He's Aaron Donald.
Right. So you're going to get a little bit less than him.
Did you get Defensive Player of the Year?
He's going to say no, but I'm about to.
How many times?
He's gonna say, well, I mean, I got to start with one this year. But let's just say 25 for him. So let's say he gets 25.
Big Jeff.
Big Jeff, large Jeff gets 25.
That's too high. I don't know the number, but that's not too high. I'm a negotiator now.
I know you are.
I'm going 20 for A.J. Brown if you want to sign it early before the season starts. There's a penalty that goes with that. If not, you can threaten the franchise tag for another year. Now you're locked up. I'm going through exactly what happened to me, by the way. Yeah, franchise tag you, bro. Yeah, that's 2 years. You play pretty physical, man. I don't know. I hope your body can make it through that. Yeah, A.J. Brown, how many seasons have you finished without missing a game? 20. Take it or leave it. Big Jeff, it may be another conversation. I don't know all the other numbers, but if you're saying 25, I can't give him 25. I'm going to probably be around the 20, what we were talking about, 22 and a half or something.
Who has more leverage?
I would say, in my opinion, Big Jeff does. I think he does. A lot of people will look at it the other way because you're not paying attention to guys in the trenches. But I think the upside for him is he could potentially be on that level of like Defensive Player of the Year, Hall of Fame. I just don't. A.J. Brown is, he's a Pro Bowl player. If he stays healthy enough, could he be on that level? But I don't see him being that. I think he's going to be a great player and maybe best in Titans history, but that's not going to put him as I don't think nobody's going to ever view him as the top 5 receivers in the NFL. I think when you come to Big Jeff, they're going to say he's one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL.
He probably already is.
Right.
Yeah.
See, so that's why he has a little more leverage in my mind. But I don't know. There's been a history, too. I think, how many first-round picks that had success with the Titans signed back with the Titans outside of quarterbacks? I would say that would lean towards more A.J. Brown, I would think, be second-round pick than Big Jeff. But, every case is its own individual case.
Jeffrey Simmons would be the first that John Robinson would extend.
Right. See?
Yeah. I mean, you go
that
back.
He drafted in the first round.
Because he didn't draft Marcus in 2015.
Or Lawan.
Lawan was 2014. So start at 2016. Jack Conklin, gone, first-round pick. Then 2017, remember, 2, Corey Davis, Adoree Jackson. They didn't pick up Corey's option, let him go to the Jets. Remember, they did pick up Adoree.
And then they cut him.
Because it was the last year you could do that you could cut somebody whose option you had picked up. You can't do that anymore.
Well, it became the last year. It wasn't like it was planned that it was going to be the last year, was it?
Yeah, everybody knew that was the last year you could do it. You can't do that anymore. So, like, if they pick up Big Jeff's 5th-year option, it's fully guaranteed. It was the last year there was some weird loophole you could still. So they cut Adoree after they picked up his option. Rashaan Evans, by the way, he's a Falcon now.
Trying to recreate the magic. Yeah, him and Brinkley. The long snap.
Bo Brinkley. Big Jeff is going to get his. Big Panda never lasted. Big Panda.
He's not worth conversation.
Oh, my gosh. Big Panda.
This is.
And then Caleb Farley, who we really haven't seen much of yet either.
But you'd love to keep both. So, I hope that happens. But to me, there's always a sacrifice. If you want me to sign you early, you're going to have to take a little bit less. There's some form of a way that we can work and meet in the middle here for both guys. So, so I think they'll all be happy and they'll both be making over $20 million a year.
Remember yesterday we were talking about this, and I went to Spot Track and I tweeted, because you can sort contracts anyway on Spot Track. It's a fantastic. I don't get paid by them, but I go there all the time. I'll endorse them. There are 8 guys who make $20 million or more per year on average. 5 of the 8, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Mike Williams, they all make 20 or 20 and change. Mm-hmm. So 5 of the 8 essentially make $20 million per year.
And that's what we're going to ask Lucas too. Make sure do you think A.J. Brown's in that bucket, or should he be above those players we just named? Mike Williams, Godwin,
Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper,
What was that number for Mike Williams again?
$20 million.
Mike Williams is 20. Chris Godwin is 20. Amari Cooper is 20. Keenan Allen is like 20, 25. And DJ Moore is $20,628,000.
I think you could consider him in that group. I feel like a Chris Godwin value to me is
Completely agree.
Is
So
right
that's
there.
20.
See,
So
that's
hey,
$20 million.
Yeah.
So 20 The only guys that make more are DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
They make more than 20. Nobody else essentially makes more than 20.
Yeah, I think Keenan Allen and it was another guy in there, not DJ Moore. Amari Cooper are the only two you could say they may be a little bit better than AJ Brown, but the other guy, he's right in there with them.
Yeah.
That's why I can't give him more than 20. Now he could say he's younger. Well, guess what? You're going to get a chance to get another contract. This is only a 4-year deal,
Yeah.
5-year deal. You could do 5 years. You know he's not going to be there the whole entire time. So yeah, that's why I say that.
Then meanwhile, the next guy is Michael Thomas, 19 and a quarter. Kenny Galladay, 18. Christian Kirk, 18.
Nah, he's better than those.
So if you're him, you're like, I ain't even talking to you. I don't even answer the phone for 18.
Yeah, not even
the
close.
phone, I'm not picking it up.
Michael
That's the
Thomas
spam
hasn't
phone.
even played a snap in like 2 years.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
in the 20, and maybe they come somewhere like 20 and a half, 21.
Yeah.
But, his agent may be like, man, we're going to start this thing at 25, and we'll trickle back to 23 and a half. They can say, here's what you do. Well, we'll just, that last year, we'll boost it up a lot to make the contract look good.
Yeah.
Boost it up a little bit.
The last year.
Yeah, we'll make it 35.
Right.
No, you won't be there. It looks good, though.
Well,
all you want is the money up front.
Right.
So you're going to get $20 million up front, and you only got a base salary of like $2 million. Hey, man, we're good to go there.
When is the system going to start breaking with more guaranteed contracts, though, since we've already seen that for Deshaun?
Oh, I thought you had some breaking news over there. I was about to get ready to do my.
Don't know. But, I mean,
I was getting ready, man. I was
next
getting pumped
quarterback deal, how much of that gets guaranteed? Because somebody's going to say, Deshaun, we don't even know his legal precedent. He's all his.
Oh, man.
Next-
Lamar Jackson's. The Ravens are hot right now.
Yep.
They didn't screwed the whole deal up with Lamar Jackson. He said, hey, man, I'm a model citizen. I do a lot of things in the community.
I'm MVP.
Yeah, I got MVP on my. Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna get done. It's just, yeah, man. Yeah, your boy. That's your buddy. Ask him, man. He did it. Yeah, that's your guy.
That's UT in there.
Lucas guy.
That's Lucas's guy.
He
His
said the
number one.
president. He said,
Yeah.
"Hey, we first did something."
Yeah.
I gotta applaud him though to say that hey, they messed up a lot early on when they first became the full-time owners, and now we understand how we got to go about it. And then he does this deal.
He did this deal. Coach Mack is going to do the deal with us. The Mack Attack coming up next. We will talk Titans and the draft and everything with 1045 The Zone's coach. But first, we got more tickets to give away. Lucas just hates to hold on to tickets. Yes, Smashville, the Nashville Predators regular season is quickly coming to an end. 1045 The Zone. We got your chance to win tickets to cheer on the Preds as they make this postseason push. The Window Nation ticket window is now open, so be caller 5 for your chance to win tickets to see your Nashville Predators take on the San Jose Sharks on April 12th. Here's the number for caller 5, 615-737-1045. Tickets to the remaining Nashville Predators home games are available. You want more info, go to NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Let's get to the phone. Don't waste any of this segment. Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack, rolling in on a rainy Tuesday. Coach Mack, how's the world treating you today?
Mickey, Blaine, I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
We're doing fantastic. I sent you a tweet a few days ago. Anytime something about, the Bears or Walter Payton crosses my timeline, and
Sure.
now helmets are so regulated about what guys can wear, and there was a story about Walter Payton, and you could have asked me this, like, what kind of helmet did he wear? He wore a Wilson football helmet. I knew that. And there was a tweet that they just stopped making them. So for years, and he played long after they stopped making his particular helmet, so the Bears just had to keep a supply of those things on hand, and you said this was absolutely true. That's what they had to do for him.
No, true story. And it was that Wilson Rydell that had the webbing and the donut in it. I don't know if Blaine's old enough in his playing career to remember the donuts in the helmet. It was just a webbing that had a rubber donut type thing that you could tighten or loosen depending on how it fit on top of your head. So basically, when you got hit in the head, it felt like somebody hitting a bell with a hammer. I mean, it was. But that's what Walter liked, and so they did. They bought him out basically. They just basically bought him out so that he could continue to wear those. The other thing that Walter used to do is he'd get a new pair of shoes. He repped Ruse for years.
Yeah. Kangaroos. Mm-hmm.
The Ruse. And he would, first thing he'd do to get a new pair of Ruse, he'd rip the insoles out of them because he wanted his feet flat and he wanted to be able to feel the cleats on the bottom of his feet, as they were coming through. Walter Payton was an amazing dude now, guys. Amazing.
Yeah, I read, Coach, that he had done that all the way back to his time in college where he would, if there was any kind of insole, he ripped it out because he wanted to feel that on the bottoms of his feet while he played.
That's 100% true.
Wow. That's Coach Mack giving you the inside information. Joining us courtesy of our friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans. You always hear us talk about them. Need great health care coverage at an affordable price. Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They've been protecting Tennesseans for 75 years, and Coach Mack has been giving us the Mack attack as well. Wanted to ask you this. This has been such a crazy offseason, Coach, and there are lots of trades happening now. Did you like making trades in your day?
On draft day?
I like making trades if they were good for me. No, seriously. I mean, absolutely. I mean, trades are beneficial if you can work out the right type of compensation and also feel like that you're going to get the correct compensation in return. So absolutely. I mean, for 31 years during the draft, I worked the phones really hard. But even before that, during the times at the combine and then during the times, between the combine and now, I was involved in a lot of trade conversations. You talk about a lot of trades. There are a lot more trades talked about, guys, and this is for our listeners, during this period, once the season's over, there are a lot more trades talked about than are ever consummated because, you always throw stuff out. It's like you're fishing, out in the Gulf. You chum the water, and see what you can bring up to the boat. And so, but did I like making them? I liked making them if I felt like that they were beneficial. But the process, did I like the process of going through it and exploring different ones? I absolutely did.
Yeah. Where did you stand, and where do you stand on having a player or players on your roster that you would consider untouchable for a trade at any price? Where were you on that particular thing?
Well, I mean, there's certain guys that you want. Now, it was a completely different world, before 1994, before free agency came in, right?
Right.
I mean, that was a completely different world. We were the first ones. Wilbur Marshall, that played for me there at the Bears, was the first free agent traded for 2 number 1 picks in the league, in the history of the league.
That was to the Redskins, right? Yeah.
He went to Washington for 2 number 1s. He was the first player. And with those 2 number 1s, we took Wendell Davis, who was a beautiful receiver out of LSU, but whose career ended way too quick when he was on that old Philly turf. Blaine went up and caught his toe on one of those creases on one of those bases and blew his left patella tendon going up and blew his right one coming down. And so he blew both patella tendons.
Yeah, I remember him, 82.
Same time. Yeah. It was. I mean, it was absolutely awful. And then with Trace Armstrong, you know, the defensive end out of Arizona State, and he played at Arizona State in Florida. That, you know, had a nice career and is now, you know, one of the bigger agents in the league for coaches and players. But Wilbur Marshall was the first one that was traded, and we hated to lose him. But the compensation was 2 number ones, and plus, you know, what they were offering money wise, the Bears weren't willing to step up with, so they took the 2 number ones, and we lost Wilbur.
Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack here on Blaine and Mickey.
How the tide turns. It came back to me, and I got to play with Wilbur Marshall his last year of the league. That was pretty fascinating, watching him with the 85 Bears, and I'm only a freshman in high school to did all on the field with them. Was pretty intense and intimidating all at the same time.
Let me ask, you know what, Blaine? That's interesting that you caught him at the end of his career.
Yes, but he was still a fabulous player.
I had him at the beginning of his career, you know, when his both knees were good and he was brand new. Yeah. And, you know, I've been fortunate enough in my, you know, 30-plus year career of coaching to coach some fabulous football players, some fabulous athletes. But one of the most natural athletes ever that I've coached at that position was Wilbur Marshall. He could do it all, and his body was just so unusual. I mean, his legs were massive, spring-loaded, hands were massive, and then plus his temperament. I mean, I remember he was back in the day, he had one of the first really cool Mercedes and had on a little script on the driver's side door and the passenger side door, Pitbull, and that's what he was.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He was very intimidating. He still would show flashes of what he used to be. I mean, man, it was a high level too. So, yeah, I think he's a Hall of Fame player, but I guess he'll never be in that kind of conversation. Coach, I want you to take us through the process of what you've been doing, getting ready for, you know what, the draft, and kind of just tell us everything that you've done, and then I'll ask some questions, you know, about that process and then some of the players.
Well, I full disclosure, I do some work for a national draft publication, and they needed a lot of help this year. So I started about, 2 months ago. And, I start and I get a lot of film sent to me. I also get coaches around the league that will, position coaches that will send me tape and say, hey, check this guy out or compare this guy to this guy, because they know I've got no agenda. They trust me. I know a lot more than I talk about. And that's why, I've got people's trust, after 36 years of doing this. But anyway, so I started a while back. And then once we start building, the first of all, I start just looking at players and start writing down. I mean, I've got a notebook, that I handwrite in notes through every game, document games that I've watched them play. And then as I start to build that index, for positions, once I get to that, and then, when I start with rep, then what we will start doing is, once we get all the measurements and all of those types of things, we've got a lady in Dallas that does a lot of digital stuff for me now that helps me quite a bit putting these things together, on the Excel spreadsheet, as far as to being able to form them up as far as vertically. And then we're still in the process now of basically putting an aggregate 150 players together. I think that will more than cover the 2 rounds that we're going to do live on Titans Radio, which, is a really good draft coverage. But, doing that and then, cross-checking and double-checking, and things always come up. I don't go to work out at schools, anymore, like I used to. I get a lot of information from people that are there, so you can kind of cross-check. Some of the people that have not worked out at the combine or, try to affirm or improve on some of their numbers there. And so, it's a lot of phone work right now. It's still some film work, but basically a lot of your film work is done to this point. Now what I'm doing is kind of reassessing and reaffirming some of the ideas, that I have. And so we'll get that vertical and horizontal board put together, sometime probably about a week before the draft, because it's the draft board and the draft itself is like an amoeba. It changes shape a lot as the different passages of time go along in the off season, but it's a pretty good grind of a process. what is this, my 35th, 36th draft. So it's a pretty good grind.
Excuse me. I'm going to stick with the Tennessee players. That way we'll stay local and maybe even the Chattanooga kid, Cole Strange. But let's start with you have two wide receivers, Velus Jones, all the Tennessee. How you ranked him, what you saw from him, what rounds you may think he'll be in between, as well as the Peyton kid here locally that played wide receiver that transferred from Mississippi State.
Yeah, well, I think Velus Jones will be a second-day guy. And he's a guy that's a real good epitome of someone that not only has the film, but he also then put the numbers up to back up the film. That's a guy, Blaine. I mean, when you played, some guys, maybe can run fast, but when you watch tape, you say he doesn't play that fast,
right?
Or he doesn't play that fast with the ball in his hands. He doesn't play that fast with his pads on. I think Velus Jones has really helped himself. First of all, he helped himself with a really, really good season this year down there. And here's the other thing that he brings. When you watch him, he's a legitimate return threat. And that to me, I think he's a second day guy. I think depending on what people have on their roster and how many draft picks they have, I firmly believe that he's a serious second day guy that does bring a lot of pluses to a team because of the many things he can do. But his numbers, when you look at his numbers, I mean, the guy's fast and he's explosive. And with that other dimension of the return dimension, he's helped himself a lot.
All righty, well, let's go with Cade Mays there. And I projected that he would be a center. I don't even know if he could play center, but I saw he played guard and tackle. For sure he can play guard. I don't think he'll be a tackle in the NFL. But what were your thoughts when you evaluated Cade Mays?
Yeah, and I agree with you. He's not a tackle in the National Football League. But what he did, I mean, he played really well this year. I know that he had some injury issues, back and forth there at Tennessee this year. But when he went to the combine, he asserted himself pretty well at the combine. He's a third-day guy. And I've got my notes on him right here. He played right guard. He's powerful. And here's what he's got. He's got some nasty, aggressive demeanor to him. He's a little tight in the hips. His hands are very, very inconsistent. And I think a lot of that, just in my experience, when you flop from on the offensive line from outside to inside, it's a different type of handset that you have to use. It's very, very different. And also his base gets narrow at times. I think because he's trying to, and again, that has to do with your hand placement, because if your hands aren't placed just right, then you kind of narrow your base to try to work back up underneath sometimes. He needs technique work. And to me, he's a developmental offensive guard. And I've got this question mark on here, and I just put it in parentheses in my evaluation. I said possible center. I think he's a third-day guy.
All right, just one more guy to center. He's not a center. He's a guard. Cole Strange, I think, is his name at UTC.
Cole Strange?
Is he guard center? What do you think about him?
Yeah, I like him. I mean, and here's the thing. Coming from a smaller school, okay, the first thing that you're going to say is, well, can he do it when the competition steps up? Here's what I've got on him. I got to flick pages here. You're listening to old school flicking pages in a notebook. Chattanooga, 6'4", 304. He played 44 games. He played left tackle. He played left guard, offensive tackle, and center. Here's another nasty dude.
Yeah.
I put this in parentheses, which I like. He's got a hot motor. He's got a stout anchor. He played well versus Kentucky. I like to watch him versus the bigger competition that they play against. He played well against Kentucky. Again, hand placement, that's got to be coached up in the National Football League. It's really, really important. And to me, he needs work on his and he does do a good job, but he needs to still work with his lateral quicks and his angles. I think this guy, and I think you said it just now, so I'm probably repeating what you said. If you're running a zone scheme, this guy could probably be a decent zone center if he can get the quarterback exchange, down pat, because this guy's got something to him, and he's got, he's pretty good size, 6'4", 304 pounds, and he's nasty enough, and he plays with enough of a motor to work out pretty good in there.
Is he a day 2 or 3 guy?
I think, to me, he's still top of the day 3.
Gotcha.
Is what I think he is.
Got Coach Mack on with us, talking Titans football, talking a draft like we do each week, courtesy of Farm Bureau Health Plans. The young man from Boston College, Zion Johnson, if that's a guy that you draft, could he be a guard for a year or 2 until Ben Jones is done and then slide over and play center? How do you see his future in a case like that?
The answer is yes on both counts.
Okay.
He really helped himself a lot, at the Senior Bowl, because he played center at the Senior Bowl because they wanted to move him over. He played guard. He played left tackle some there at BC for. Well, he's not a left tackle in this league. He's 6'3", 314 pounds. He's got power. He's played guard, tackle, and center. As I just said, I think he's a better guard in the National Football League. He's got his size, his length, and his quicks, I think, really lend themselves to a productive offensive guard in this league. He takes really good angles. He's a smart player. You can see he's very, very aware. Mike Keith did an extended interview with him down there at the Senior Bowl. That's very, very impressive. I mean, he's a smart guy. This guy, to me, would be a very, very reliable player when you get him on your squad.
What about Tyler Linderbaum, Coach? Because I looked at him. He doesn't have that diversity with his time at Iowa. I think he started 33 games, and they were all at center. Is he strictly a center, you think, at the next level?
Yes, he absolutely is.
Okay.
He absolutely is, but he's a very good one. And here's what he's got, Mickey, that I've, in all of my years of doing it, even when I was coaching, some of the best centers I've been around have been really good wrestling backgrounds in college.
Right.
Because that's kind of a different – guys are on their nose a lot. I mean, hand placement, body torque, all of that stuff is very, 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 very important. I mean, Kevin Mawai, Jay Hilgenberg, those guys that I've been with that were wrestlers, had some wrestling background, that were really good ones. But Tyler Linderbaum, he makes all the calls there. I'm looking at my thing here, 6'3", 292. He can hit targets in space, which is very, very important. He's got excellent foot quicks. His leverage and body control really match up well with his talent and his tenacity. He's got quick feet. He's patient versus games. He's agile in space. This guy will be the first center taken.
Well, Coach, I want to ask the last 2, Tennessee players, Matthew Butler, D tackle, as well as Alontae Taylor. Where do you see them pictured going here in the draft? You don't have to kind of give analysis, but real quick analysis.
Yeah, I think they're probably both third-day guys, top the third-day guy. Matthew Butler really had a nice he helped himself. He had a nice year, kind of quietly, too. You know what I'm saying, Blaine? Kind of quietly, had a really nice year. But all 4 of those kids, let me say this, and I wanted to watch them pretty closely, when I was there at the Combine, because I sit in that dome for 6 hours every night to watch every player, every drill. And they all did a nice job. They accorded themselves very well. Alontae Taylor just needs a lot of technique work. Now, he's got the speed, but he needs a lot of technique work. Some people that I talk to think Alontae Taylor may be a safety. I would still start him at corner. If I had him on my squad, I know that he could be a good gunner on special teams, but I would start him at corner, and I think he's got the ability to flip to safety, maybe have the ability to drop down, to cover some slots.
Oh, there you have it. The Mac Attack from Titans Radio. Him and Mike Keith.
Yes, sir. Coach Mack, that flew by. Thank you as always for the time, and look forward to catching up with you next week.
Guys, always love being on with you guys. See you.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it,
Coach Mack and his knee-deep in his draft prep right now. Speaking of the draft, interesting little draft tweet from our buddy Corey Curtis at News 2 about how many draft picks from the recent drafts are still around. Go through the numbers next. I'll share those with you guys. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. We'll get into some more Titans draft stuff, but we got breaking news. We need the BBBNS, the Blaine Bishop breaking news sounder.
Breaking Vols news on 104.5 The Zone.
You guys synchronized that perfectly. That was amazing. I wouldn't count this as a surprise, but we looked up at the TV as soon as we went to commercial break, and Blaine's like, "It's Kennedy Chandler, man."
Who was that guy with the glasses on, man? Trying to look like he's smart.
He is. He has glasses on. He was officially declaring for the NBA draft, and he will be hiring an agent. So you got to enjoy seeing him while you saw him. During his freshman season, he led Tennessee in scoring 13.9. This is all per 24/7. Led Tennessee in scoring 13.9 points per game and assists at 4.7. He was second team All-SEC. He was all freshman SEC. He was second in minutes played per game. He started all 34 games that he played this season. 5-star freshman point guard.
Yeah, he's definitely a first round pick. I don't know how you think he'll go. He's a top 20 pick.
Yeah, I've seen him mocked a lot of top 20.
Yeah.
Definitely a first-round grade.
Yeah.
Certainly the best that any one-and-done has – the most any one-and-done has lived up to the billing under Rick Barnes as far as their production.
Oh, under Rick Barnes.
Yeah, in the Rick Barnes era.
Okay.
Probably the best one-and-done at Tennessee since Tobias Harris.
I was about to say Tobias Harris. Because I was like, I don't know if he's – but he was such a pure shooter.
Like Keon Johnson, James Springer got drafted last year, but as far as what he was able to accomplish at the college level.
Having an impact.
Yeah.
You game in, game
Huge
out
impact.
to have an impact. Yeah.
Not just in flashes,
Then
too.
I thought he got better as the season went on.
Yeah. Those last few months, he really was consistent.
Where he has upside, but for some of those guys, it's like, well, I guess we'll just see all this at the NBA level, because you didn't get there just weren't every night where all those guys went out and you're like, oh my gosh. This dude, it was like, okay, he's got all the tools. The NBA draft, a lot of dudes that's only 2 rounds. But a bunch of those dudes, it's like, well, it's his intangibles, and we'll fix him when he gets here.
I'll just say this. Who did they lose to in the tournament?
That would be Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan. Yeah, he was the best player on the floor. That's what told me he's got to come out.
Yeah.
He was the best player. And they had some really good players. I thought their guards were great defenders, too, by the way, and really good players, too. But he was the best player on the court. It's just, I'm sure he wish he would have made some more shots, but needs some help, too, at the same time. So, yeah, that's when I realized, like, this is a no-brainer. That's when it's a no-brainer. He's got to come. He's a first-round pick.
Yeah, he played too well the last 2-3 months of the season. Too well, too consistently to pass it up.
Yeah, and then his perimeter shooting got better as time went on.
And that was the question mark about him coming in.
Yeah.
He got better shooting perimeter threes and everything.
Our former coworker, Madison Blevins, now Madison Blevins Hawk, who's on TV in Knoxville, she tweeted, he said the decision was tough. He talked with his family and Coach Rick Barnes about it and decided it was the best decision for him. Absolutely, man. You guys, it's just no decision. It's like, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us for a year. It's a good time.
I think Vescovi and
Triple
Jordan
J.
James, Joshua Jordan James, I think they should come back. I don't know what they're going to get with evaluation. James, to me, has more upside. If he shows that he can shoot like the way he was shooting consistently at the end of like the last month from the perimeter threes, because he's got everything. He's got the skill set. He's a great defender, can handle the ball. He can kind of be that point forward physically. So I think if he does that, I think that'll help him out a lot. I mean, not to say that he could come out and still not get drafted maybe in the second round, but I think that would help his case out a lot. Because I remember he started the season, his shooting wrist was hurt. And that kind of probably affected his shooting. But, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with both of those guys. I don't know about Vescovi. I think Vescovi, he's kind of that tweener. He's not really a point. He's not. So he kind of could have a niche as just a guy coming off the bench that could be a pure scorer. But I tell you one thing, the Michigan game, his foot quickness, those guys smothered him.
Yeah.
I mean, smothered him. Vescovi is who we're talking about. I know you're doing a lot of things back there. So I just, maybe he should wait another year.
He is a guy, though, that could probably
he definitely could play over in Europe.
Overseas long time.
Yeah, for sure. And that may be his
places.
play.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Lucas?
Yeah, I think that'd probably be his future. Just feels like a good fit there. Have a long Ron Slay type career overseas.
How big is he, Vescovi? He's only 6'3". Okay.
That's why it's kind of that tweener that's not quite quick enough to be point, not tall enough to be the 2 in the NBA.
Yeah.
So, but there's guys who make it and do really well at it, but they got to be a sharpshooter type guy. So it'll be interesting. He couldn't get open versus Michigan. I think that was the third place where they were supposed to get a little more points, and that's why I would have went to the bench a little bit, maybe played Bailey if it was me, because he just couldn't get open. I mean, he couldn't get a shot off. I mean, hey, oh man, I got a lot of loyalty and you've done a lot of stuff, but hey man, I got to see if something else is going to work here.
Right. We going to plug in something else here and see if we can get results that we need to try to win this game. Well, there you go. A little breaking Vols news. We can get back into draft stuff tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Exciting time, man.
He was chatting on this NBA show. Like, as soon as we go to commercial, Blaine's like, "Hey, man." I'm like, "Ooh, teased the wrong thing."
We chatting with Malika Andrews.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's already hitting the circuit here. So off to the NBA, and we are off to the rest of our afternoon. 3HL coming up next. Remember, they are at the Sounds game today. Lucas is going to the Sounds game today, so you can go to the Sounds game today. It is opening day at the park. Make sure to get your tickets and go check it out. You will have a fantastic time. Always a fun experience out there with the Nashville Sounds.
And we'll have the the rain globe over the Sounds game until it's over.
I'm going to work on stopping the rain right now, so just don't even worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
In between time.
Yes, sir. Peace.